Hey, what's going on? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to discuss the best of all kettlebell workout worlds. And that's because I routinely get asked about the best kettlebell workout or best kettlebell workout program structure. And my response is usually best for what, right? As in exactly what are you trying to do? What is your number one goal? And more specifically, maybe have you ever wondered what is the best for you? Well, let's take a close look, or at least a closer look at all the possibilities. So I'm going to flash up here on the screen 10 common and not so common kettlebell workout programming structures. You may have seen some of these. Some of these may be familiar. You may be using one right now. And some of them you may never have heard of or seen before. All right. So number one, we've got the 3 times a week total body workout program. Okay. Number two, we have 3 times a week an A-B split. Number three, we have 3 times a week heavy, medium, and light, or some variation, like heavy, light, medium, medium, light, heavy, that sort of thing. 3 times a week push, pull legs. And what's really interesting is we use this, what I like to say, back in the day. I mean, this training split has been used, man, probably since the 60s or 70s. I started using it in the early 90s, early 1990s. Okay, so the cool thing is it's been making a comeback. So I've seen a resurgence in the popularity of this particular split for good reason. Maybe we'll get into that good reason some other video. All right. So another one, let's see, what would this be? This would be number 5, I think, right? 3 times a week. And what you're going to do is you're going to train for different qualities: max strength, hypertrophy, power, or, some variation, shuffle the deck there, so to speak. Number 6 is 4 times a week. We have upper, lower, upper, lower. We have 4 times a week again with number 7. And this would be where you're alternating strength and conditioning. So it'd be strength, conditioning, right? 4 times a week, we have power alternated with max strength. So it'd be power, max strength. And then number 9 is 5 times a week. It's a bodybuilding bro split. Now, and I've actually seen this with kettlebell training. So we've got chest, legs, back, shoulders, arms, something along those natures, right? Split it up, mix it up as you will. And then number 10 is something called Grease the Groove, which is popularized by Pavel Tsatsouline. And if you know anything about kettlebells, it's his fault. It's because of Pavel and John Duquesne, who introduced the kettlebell back in, I think it was 1999, 2000. All right. And so Grease the Groove is the concept of synaptic facilitation, which is 1 to 3 exercises performed daily, repeatedly throughout the day, in some cases with very, very low volume per set. Okay. So yeah, you're right. That is a lot to choose from, right? And no wonder so many people get confused about what the best is, right? So to answer the next question, yes, they all work. And yes, they all fail at some point, right? So that's the other question. So in other words, how long can you do these for? Well, eventually you'll probably have to change as the law of accommodation kicks in. And then finally, yes, there are, of course, successes and failures using these particular programs, right? These program structures. And those successes and failures are dependent on many factors, right? So here is 5. Number 1 is exercise selection. Number 2 is the loading parameters, right? So sets, reps, rest periods used, weight used, okay? Number 4 is recovery, and this definitely includes PEDs or steroids, as we used to say back in the day. There are a lot of influencers out there pimping their wares who are using the needle, right? Number 4 is the duration of your workout / training session. And then number 5 is the one that very few people ever take into consideration. And that is your personality or your temperament. And that's because you can have the best, right? Air quotes, best. We can all cap that, best program ever written in your hands by the best strength and conditioning coach on the planet. But if it doesn't fit with your wiring, right, the things that you like, your natural proclivities and tendencies, then you're going to figure out a way not to get that done, okay? And so that won't be the best for you. So generally speaking, right, I recommend training 3 times a week for approximately 20 to 30 minutes each training session. And that's because that's the duration and frequency most people with real lives can realize the following equation. Get a good workout in, times find the time to do that workout, times not kill myself, equals see measurable results, right? But maybe you can relate to what I'm about to say next. It's not hard to hop around from program to program, because there's the fear of missing something, right? FOMO, it's called, fear of missing out. And there are thoughts of not getting enough in, not getting enough done, right? Not enough strength work, or not enough conditioning, or not enough leg work, not enough squatting, which I love personally, right? Little side note here. Back in the day, I feel like the grandpa on the porch. Hey, get off my porch! Get off my lawn! Back in the day, right? We used to joke around, and some of us still do, that it was really easy to skip leg day. So you'd see guys with huge upper bodies and they look like light bulbs. And as you probably are well aware, Monday is International Bench Press Day. And that is a well-known fact that if you go to a gym almost anywhere on the planet on a Monday and try and do chest, you will not find a bench press because everybody's doing chest. And consequently, leg day, International Leg Day, is usually on a Friday. And well, things come up on a Friday afternoon. So a lot of guys just skip leg day, or at least they used to. My point being, it's nice to see people inquire about getting more leg work done or squatting enough. This has been a new phenomenon, at least to me, in probably about the last 5-7 years. And it's been fantastic to see. So keep getting those squats in. All right. So back on our track here, off the tangent, back on track. Right. It doesn't matter what your fear of missing out is, right? But everybody seems to have one, right? And of course, this is why kettlebells are so great. They accomplish so many things at one time and eliminate, in many, if not most cases, the need for traditional accessory exercises, right? So an accessory exercise was, you did bench press, well, then you do incline dumbbell press. That's an accessory exercise. And then maybe you do a pullover accessory exercise. Okay, that's an example. So, and especially, right, kettlebells eliminate the need for the accessory exercises when you know how to use them correctly. You're using the correct technique and program them correctly. What do I mean by correct technique? A little side note here. People often ask me, hey Jeff, what kind of kettlebell exercise can I do for my chest besides doing push-ups on the bell or on the handles or doing some floor presses? I'm like, yeah, man, you can do those if you want to. But if you know how to press correctly and use the right cues, when you press, you're going to get your upper pecs involved, which replaces the incline bench press, right? Or the incline dumbbell press. And you'll have a broad chest, broad across the top, right? It won't be so thick down at the bottom that it looks like you have a set of man boobs, even though supposedly it's muscle. All right. So that's an example of using them correctly. Now, back on track here, oddly enough, even though I recommend 3 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes as a programming format for most people, I've actually found over the years that 4 times a week template of this, that works spectacularly for those who can find an extra 30 minutes or so in the week, right? Or in their week, I should say, and have decent recovery, right? So you're that person if you get done with 3 times a week and you're constantly itching for more. All right. So one of my personal favorites, and I alluded to this earlier, of this, that template is power, max strength, power, max strength. It's the best of all worlds, at least in my book, for activating those all-important type 2X, type 2A fast twitch muscle fibers. And in case you've forgotten, you haven't been around this channel for a while, those are the muscle fibers that we lose as men over 30 by 10% per decade, right? So if you take the total number of fast twitch muscle fibers that we have, we lose 10% of them every decade we're alive if we don't actively seek to recruit them and train them and keep them. So what's so important about those? Well, those are the ones that actually make you look more muscular. Those are the ones that actually make you look like you lift weights, right? So picture a sprinter, that's fast twitch muscle fibers. Now picture an endurance athlete, like one of those little skinny triathlon guys, or marathon runners, probably a better example. That's an example of the opposite, slow twitch muscle fibers, right? So we want the sprinter look. We want those fast twitch muscle fibers, right? Another key, critical, important reason why we want those fast twitch muscle fibers is that they're the ones that drive your metabolism. They require more energy at rest once you've built them and used them. And interesting enough, they're the ones that help you burn off the body fat faster because they require much more energy or fuel while you're using them than the slow twitch muscle fibers. Think monster truck, fast twitch muscle fibers, Prius hybrid electric vehicle, that's your slow twitch muscle fibers. And yeah, of course, those fast twitch muscle fibers, right, the ones we're talking about that require the most energy, those are the muscle fibers that you really need to train if you have the concept of more stuck in your head, right? Like if you want to press more, if you want more strength, right? If you want to snatch more, if you want to squat more, if you want to jump higher, and if you want to run faster, right? If you like those sorts of things like I do, right? Those are the muscle fibers that you want to focus on in your training. Simple way to do that is to alternate your ballistics, your snatches, your cleans, your swings, right? Your ballistics practice with your heavy grinds practice. So your grinds in the kettlebell world would be your goblet squats, your military presses, your front squats, your Turkish get-ups, those types of things. Now I want to show you an email I got from one of my customers who agrees with me. His name is George. We'll pop this on the screen here. He said, if you want a little bit more concrete feedback on your program, I think Kettlebell MAXIMORUM is your best program yet. Okay, the 2 days of grinds and 2 days of snatches of MAXIMORUM is the best of both worlds. Okay. He said, I'll read some of the non-highlighted text here. I'm in my 40s and I've had 2 abdominal surgeries earlier this year. Couldn't lift anything for 12-ish weeks to avoid a hernia. MAXIMORUM was my first official program back, and after a month of lifting practice, I went from a little out of shape and deconditioned to the leanest and most muscular I've ever been with fantastic conditioning, all thanks to MAXIMORUM. Thank you. Right, so if you don't want to figure out how to structure grinds and ballistics, alternating the strength and the power, or the power and the strength. You can do both, by the way. If you don't want to figure out how to do that, you can just do what George did, and you can grab a copy of my program, Kettlebell MAXIMORUM. I'll leave a link in the description below. And look, I'll be straight up here. Kettlebell MAXIMORUM is not for everybody for sure, but it is for those of you who are watching this and you want to feel stronger and more powerful and actually be stronger and more powerful. And yes, you might be wondering, well, I really can't do 4 days a week, but I do want those things. Is there a 3-day-a-week version? Yes, there is a 3-day-a-week version of Kettlebell MAXIMORUM. Again, I will leave the link in the description below, and hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what your favorite split is, right? 3 days a week, 4 days a week, push-pull legs, that sort of thing. Tell me what you've used in the past, and more importantly, what you found has produced the best results for you, if you have an answer for that, okay? And feel free to share it with a friend. And apparently you can share these things across other social media platforms, all right? So if you want to share this video on YouTube, yeah, obviously we're on YouTube, but on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, feel free to do so. All right, until next time, my friend, stay strong.